another man carry another man's baby, point blank, period. Like
another man carry
another man after she gave birth, she had the guy all up in her baby's face.
That was a family member.
No, you said that was your boyfriend. Let's get it right, shorty. 2012 or 13. There you go right there. He all
That's a family member.
No,
He
that's
has
your
not.
boyfriend.
So if he's your daughter's father, why is it he doesn't have any way to contact?
Because I'm always changing my number. Like, I change my number like 3 times out of a month.
Why?
Because certain people have my number and I don't want them having my number, so I just changed my number.
But if this man could be your child's father, how can they keep up with their child?
Mr. Clark starts off confidently declaring, "I'm the dad," and is ready to prove it with a DNA test to spend more time with LaKearney. But Ms. Bolden drops a bomb, claiming the real dad is Mr. Moore. The drama kicks off with popcorn-worthy tension, and we're just getting started.
Mr. Clark, you're here to prove to Ms. Bolden that you are the biological father of her 3-year-old daughter, LaKearney Clark. And once the DNA results prove you're right, you want to be able to spend more time with your daughter. You say that you've always told Mr. Clark he was not daughter's father and hope that once these results are revealed...
Ms. Bolden reveals she cheated on Mr. Clark after an argument about bills. She admits she called up Mr. Moore that night, and things escalated, possibly leading to LaKearney's conception. This love triangle is heating up fast, and it's pure chaos.
One day we had an argument about bills, as usual, about his half on the bills. Stormed out the door, so I stormed out the door too. I called Mr. Moore, and we had got a hotel room, and that night I had sex with Mr. Moore. That's the night I think I conceived.
And so you were dating Mr. Clark?
Right.
Mr. Clark signed the birth certificate, sure LaKearney was his. But Ms. Bolden admits she hinted he might not be the dad, without pushing the issue. Now, the confusion between them is setting the stage for more twists.
Were you at the hospital when the baby was born?
After Your Honor.
Signed the birth certificate?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Bolden, all this is going on, and he's signing the birth certificate, and he thinks this is his child, and you know, in your mind, you say that it's not?
Yes.
So during your pregnancy, during the child's birth, did you ever say anything, give a hint?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Clark describes his magical bond with LaKearney, calling her his princess. He's adamant she's his daughter and won't let anyone say otherwise. But just as things turn sweet, the drama thickens.
I mean, we stayed arguing all the time. She made statements, I guess just to hurt me, that she wasn't mine, but yet and still, I had no doubt in my mind that that little girl is mine. I always felt like she was my daughter, and I feel like this still. Whenever me and LaKearney meet, it's magic, you know what I'm saying? And she's very happy when she sees me.
Mr. Moore believes he might be the dad, but hasn't been involved due to Ms. Bolden's changing contact info. He claims he'll step up if proven the father, but his track record has everyone doubting him. Suspense is building fast.
So if he's your daughter's father, why is it he doesn't have any way to contact?
Because I'm always changing my number. Like, I change my number like 3 times out of a month.
Why?
Because certain people have my number and I don't want them having my number, so I just changed my number.
But if this man could be your child's father, how can they keep up with their child?
Mr. Moore's sister insists LaKearney resembles their family and must be her niece. She says her family supports LaKearney despite the uncertainty, but mixed signals from Ms. Bolden keep everyone guessing.
What I know is that's my niece.
You do?
Yes, ma'am. I know from day one that that little girl was my niece. I make sure she get things for her birthday. I just spend time with her.
And why are you so certain?
Cause she looks just like us. Nose, mouth, everything. She even act like us.
You have her number?
No, ma'am.
On Facebook.
Mr. Clark's witness accuses Ms. Bolden of flip-flopping on who the dad is. They point out LaKearney calls Mr. Clark daddy, sealing his claim. The tension is like a soap opera, and the DNA results are about to drop.
So you believe LaKearney is Mr. Clark's child?
Yes, Your Honor, a little bit.
Because at first you're saying Ms. Bolden told Mr. Moore it was not his child.
Yes, ma'am.
And LaKearney calls me daddy.
She called me dad too.
Yes.
Ms. Bolden, does she call both men daddy?
Yes, she do.
Is that confusing for her?
Yes, it is.
It has been determined by this court that the biological father is Mr. Clark.
This was wild right away. 2 women, 1 child, and 0 chill in the courtroom. Miss Lusk says her daughter, Samarai, belongs to her late boyfriend, Desmond, but Miss Page, Desmond's mom, disagrees. She's convinced Desmond was with someone else and claims she didn't even know Miss Lusk existed.
You and your mother say you have no doubt whatsoever when it comes to knowing who your 3-year-old daughter, Samari's biological father is. Unfortunately, the man you claim is her father has died, and now you find yourself facing off against his mother, who is just as convinced that she is not your daughter's grandmother.
Things heat up when money enters the chat. Miss Page accuses Miss Lusk of chasing a $50,000 insurance payout, saying it's all about the cash. Miss Lusk claps back, insisting it's about her daughter's recognition, not money, as tensions hit the roof.
And so this insurance policy is in the amount of $50,000 you submitted that paperwork to the court. It is your testimony today that Ms. Lusk is attempting to get a portion of that money. That's why she's claiming your deceased son is her child's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor. I never heard of Miss Lusk. Your son was in a committed relationship.
Somehow, Facebook makes this mess even wilder. Miss Page claims she learned about the pregnancy from a post, but wasn't convinced Miss Lusk was really pregnant. Miss Lusk explains she only found out later, adding more drama to the mix.
Well, I'm thinking that someone told me via Facebook or something like that.
No, ma'am.
Do you know what happened?
I contacted Miss Page through Facebook to tell her to call me. She called me, and that's when I broke the news to her about my daughter being pregnant by her son. The very first thing she said to me is, my son is a legend. My son has women coming out the woodwork. She seemed proud.
Things get soap opera intense over Samurai's last name. Miss Lusk gave her Desmond's last name, Page, sparking outrage from Miss Page, who says it wasn't her call. Miss Lusk defends her choice, firing up the courtroom even more.
So you gave Samari Desmond's last name?
Without my permission.
We don't need your permission. It was permission when I laid down and was intimate with him.
No, it's
That's
not,
permission.
It's not been
That's
proven.
permission.
It's not been proven.
But it will be today.
You're not
but it
his
will be
wife.
correct. I don't have to be, and you're not either. You wasn't in the room, Miss
I'm
Page.
his mother.
And I'm his baby mother.
No, you're not.
Yes, ma'am.
The tension shifts as emotions spill out. Judge Lake steps in, pointing out Miss Page's grief over Desmond may be fueling her doubts. She urges both women to stop the public drama and focus on facts, calming things. For now,
Miss Page is grieving. She doesn't even have a person to review these facts with. She can't say to her son, Desmond, I need to talk to you about this, this, and this, so I can get an understanding. But much of this pain and animosity that is coming out in your testimony is because you do feel like you have a situation before you.
plot twist. Another girlfriend enters the story. Miss Lusk didn't know Desmond had a long-term relationship until after he passed. She discovered her pregnancy days after his funeral, adding another layer to this tangled web.
Were you aware that Desmond was in another relationship with someone else?
No, Your Honor. I didn't find out until the day of and the day after his passing.
So how did you find that out?
Facebook, social media. That's when, I believe 4 days after his passing, that's when I took my own pregnancy test and found out I was pregnant. That was April 24th. His funeral was April 27th. I didn't go to his funeral.
The judge raises a tough question. Will Miss Page build a relationship with Samurai if she's proven Desmond's daughter? Miss Page hesitates, unsure if she can handle the drama, but the judge pushes her to consider what's best for Samurai.
If, in fact, this beautiful baby girl is your late son's biological daughter, do you want to have a relationship with her?
I can't answer that.
Why is that?
Plus, it's too much drama.
And it's too much for me as well because you caused the drama.
The moment of truth.
It has been determined by this court. The probability of relatedness between Miss Page and Samari Page is 99.96%.
This kicks off wild. Mr. Williams claims Miss tricked him into paying child support for 22-year-old Clarissa, despite always using condoms. He's here to prove he's not the dad and fight $36,742.43 each in debt. It's messy from the start, and spoiler, it only gets crazier.
Mr. Williams, you have brought Ms. Annette Smith to court today claiming she scammed you into paying child support on her 22-year-old daughter, Clarissa. You say you use condoms at all times, so you cannot be Clarissa's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Williams says child support wiped him out, leaving him with just $7 after 11-hour workdays. A car accident added to his woes, making him miss court. And just when it seems rough enough, it's time for Ms. Smith's side.
Woke up 5 o'clock in the morning, spent 11 hours on the job. Usually it's an $80 a day, turned to a $7 a day based on child support. So I'm like, I can't do this. I can't work 11-hour day for $7. And I made income enough to get away. But what happened is I was working at a place and I got into a bad car accident. Kind of took me out, but the settlement was allowing me to move.
Ms. Smith insists they had a real relationship and he picked baby names while Mr. Williams denies it all. It's a tense stare down, leading to a clash over missed DNA tests. Drama level high.
You say this was a real relationship.
Yes, ma'am, it was. There you go, right there.
You all were boyfriend and girlfriend?
Yes.
No.
At the point that you realized you were pregnant, before
Before that, were you sleeping with anybody else besides Mr. Williams?
No.
When you found out you were pregnant, did you tell him?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
What day?
What was his
The
reaction?
same night.
Night?
Yep.
What night?
Yes, I did.
Oh,
I
no,
forgot the
that's it.
name
What
that he
I say?
wanted me to name, but he wanted me to have a boy.
What?
Mrs. Smith says Mr. Williams missed court-ordered DNA tests due to an address mix-up. He claims it was deliberate so he'd keep paying. It's like arguing over 22-year-old spilled milk. Messy and expensive.
When I was on Public Assistant,
Where
they
you get that
asked
from?
Eli to come down here for the blood test. Eli declined. He didn't want
No.
to show up.
Did you
Yes,
have an
it is.
opportunity to take a DNA
No, I
test,
did
sir,
not.
and you didn't?
No, I did
And I
not.
got his
Because
address
for
when I
one,
went to
let me
California
tell
to
you.
see him.
See, and now she moving too far ahead for herself because when she went to
'Cause I'm
California,
telling the truth.
she went to California to scope out my situation.
Mr. Williams accuses Ms. Smith of tampering with condoms, claiming she's a sneaky ninja. Ms. Smith's disbelief is palpable, and the courtroom teeters between gasps and laughs. Then, Clarissa herself enters the scene.
So, Mr. Williams, you say you always used condoms.
As far as I know, always use condoms. What I do know is she used to take my condoms off to the bathroom, and whatever she did in the bathroom with that condom, because I used to lay there, well, I'll take care of that for you. You never said that.
What I'm gonna take care of? I'm gonna put it on you too?
No, however
Who
you do
does
it.
that?
You did.
Oh my Lord, you.
So what you're
That's why
saying,
you smiling.
what you're saying is you feel like there was foul play.
Clarissa shares how she grew up thinking Mr. Williams was her dad, but had little contact. It's an emotional moment as Mrs. Smith proudly highlights her achievements. The family drama has layers upon layers.
Is Mr. Williams the person you were always told was your biological father?
Yes.
You never were told anyone else could be your father?
No.
Do you remember him being in your life when you were growing up?
When I was 5, he would call me. That's all I remember.
But since then, you don't remember anything?
No.
You have not seen him?
No.
Holiday?
No.
Nothing?
By the time that was probably happening, probably when that child support started hitting me.
Ms. Smith praises Clarissa's 3.9 GPA and music skills, while Mr. Williams looks uncomfortable. Then, Clarissa delivers a heartfelt speech, ready to lay it all on the table.
You just want her to know her father?
Yes, ma'am, because he is missing out on so much. She made her own music, her own game videos. She's a 3.9.
And I can see you very proud of your daughter.
Very so much. And now this is the last closure. And this I wanted to be done with so she can blossom and be a good woman. Whether you in her life or not, because you done missed out.
Clarissa speaks about growing up without a dad, wanting support and love, but getting nothing. The room holds its breath as her words hit hard. The judge steps in to confront Mr. Williams with some tough truths.
You missed out on my entire life. I wanted to have a father to brag things about in my academic life. I wanted to explore someone to support me. You were never there. I wish you were. We could have had some fun. You stopped calling me. My mom tell me these stories about how much you two had so much fun.
The judge scolds Mr. Williams for ghosting a child, regardless of his doubts. She highlights the impact on Clarissa, and you can see him starting to understand, maybe. Then, it's time for the DNA results.
And you have to respect that, Mr. Williams, whether you believe she's your biological daughter or not. She was told you're her father.
Right.
Her mother has pictures of you looking like you happy she's here. Can you accept that?
If she's mine, I can accept that. But if she's not mine, I'll be more hurt than you imagine.
Mr. Williams, you are her father.
This story kicks off like a soap opera you didn't know you needed. Miss Garnett claims Mr. Langston is her dad and demands an apology for doubting it, but Mr. Langston claps back, saying he's always known she's not his daughter and wants her to say sorry. Get ready. This is no ordinary family drama.
Ms. Garnett, you and your mother, Ms. Miller, have opened your case to prove to the defendant that he is your biological father. You are baffled because you consider him a daddy and a best friend and state his doubt is unwarranted and demand an apology once the results are revealed.
Miss Garnett shares how Mr. Langston ghosted her after a funeral, sparking doubts he'd held onto since her birth. These doubts exploded after a random text, like a family firecracker. The plot thickens in ways you won't expect.
It started with a text message about a couple months ago. That wasn't the very beginning, but this is why we're here. Text message brought us here, and this is the evidence that I brought in today. Almost 2 years of reaching out to my father after visiting him in 2015, pleading to get him to respond. He wasn't responding, and he finally responded with this message.
At a funeral, Mr. Langston drops the bombshell that Miss Garnett might not be his daughter. Later, he takes it back, leaving her confused and heartbroken. This wasn't a joke, and things are about to get even messier.
2 years ago, when I was at the funeral with him, he had brought up for the very first time that he thought I may not have been his daughter, which blew my mind. He went on and on about him and my mother's past, all this, but then after he vomited all this tragedy on me, he recanted and took it back.
I've been a feeling because I seen the fact right away, and I'm not trying to hurt her. I love her.
Mr. Langston recalls seeing Ms. Miller with another man, which fueled his suspicions. Ms. Miller insists the man was just a friend, but Mr. Langston isn't buying it. This becomes one of his biggest reasons for doubting her paternity.
One day, she used to live out south. I came through the back. Her auntie downstairs let me in. I walked upstairs. I didn't knock on the door. I looked in. I see this guy sitting on the couch with her, like he running this game to get up on something. I knocked on the door. I said, what's going on? Ain't nothing. No, this is my cousin. I said, hey, you can get out of here, cousin. You can leave. But I don't believe it.
Mr. Langston reveals he paid child support for over 20 years, despite his doubts. Ms. Miller mentions a DNA test from years ago that was never followed up on. The fact that this lingered for decades is shocking.
I paid child support not only 18 years, I paid it 20 years.
But when
they
did you
started
start?
sending me checks back for overpayment, $1,700.
So how come you didn't take that $150,000, pay for a DNA test when out before I turned 36 years old?
I'll tell you,
That's
I have the answer for you.
Miss Garnett shares how devastating it was when Mr. Langston's text made her question her identity. She'd always considered herself a Langston, and this shattered her world. Despite her pain, she takes bold steps to uncover the truth.
When he sent that text to me, I cried my hardest cry.
Oh, baby, don't do that.
I was devastated. I felt like he was taking my identity away from me because I've always known I was a Langston. I have so much about my father. When he came back into my life when I was an adult, it was like a piece of the puzzle was missing, and we became best friends.
Miss Garnett posts a photo with her grandfather, sparking comments about their resemblance. Even Mr. Langston sees it, but he's still unconvinced. The drama keeps building.
This picture, and it reminded me of this picture of my grandfather. This is Mr. Langston's father. And I noticed some similarities in our faces. I posted it to Facebook to get some support about the situation. I even had cousins respond, oh my goodness, you look just like Papa. I never realized that.
Ms. Miller is asked if she ever had a relationship with Mr. Langston's dad, which she denies. She insists Mr. Langston is the father, but the tension is palpable as the big reveal approaches.
Was there ever any type of relationship between you and Mr. Langston's father when you lived in the house with him?
A father and daughter. I looked at him like he was my family. I looked at his mom like she was my mom. I never looked at him in any other way.
And so there's absolutely no doubt in your mind that Mr. Langston is your daughter, Miss Garnett's biological father.
No doubt.
Mr. Langston, you are not the father.
This starts off like a soap opera, and it's wild. Miss Brugger claims her late fiancé, Parrish Brooks Sr., is the father of her son, while Ms. Warner, the grandma, denies it and accuses her of chasing money. Oh, and Grandma insists Parrish Sr. was sterile. Buckle up, it's about to get crazier.
Prove to the defendant that your son, Parrish Brooks Jr., was fathered by the defendant's grandson, who was tragically killed 2 months ago in an auto accident. Now, Ms. Warner, you are here with your granddaughter, and you don't believe Parrish Jr. is your great-grandson. You say the plaintiff has dragged you to court today because she wants in on your family's land and oil trust.
Miss Brugger says she and Parrish Sr. were building a life together, and he was excited about the baby. She even has proof he claimed the baby as his own, but the family isn't buying it, and tensions are boiling over.
He's my son's father. We live together, everything, we're in a relationship. He asked me to marry him. That is my son's father. He never denied my son. He was never told by a doctor. That was just him because he never had a child.
Me and Parrish clearly had a conversation before he passed that he wasn't sure. Chaz, I don't even think I can have kids.
Ms. Warner claims the baby doesn't resemble Parrish Sr., down to the vibe. Miss Brugger fires back, saying Parrish Sr. loved being a dad and treated her older kids like his own. Then, the bombshell. The family learned about his death on Facebook.
You did?
I did go because of Parrish. Parrish was alive then. That was his baby. But to me, that's not his child. He loved the baby, Your Honor, but the baby doesn't even look like him. He doesn't act like him. His forehead's not like, there's nothing about him to tell me that that is my grandson.
My son looks around his eyes, he looks just like him.
No,
he looks like his grandpa.
Grandpa ain't never did nothing for Parrish. Well,
that's what y'all say.
Ms. Warner is livid she found out about Parrish Sr.'s death on Facebook. She accuses Miss Brugger of keeping the baby just to fulfill Parrish Sr.'s dream of fatherhood. Miss Brugger claps back, saying she's raising the child alone.
I got a phone call from one of my friends that seen it on Facebook. They had just found out that morning too.
They found it out on Facebook.
Someone else called the coroner's office. They released all of his information. So when I'm looking at Facebook Facebook at like 5 o'clock in the morning going to work. I see it. I call my grandmother. Grandma, have you heard anything about Parrish? I had just talked to Parrish the Friday that he died at like 10 o'clock in the morning.
Grandma accuses Miss Brugger of sneaking around with a guy she did hair for. Brugger denies it, saying he's just her brother's friend. The real drama? A babysitting fiasco that'll make you cringe.
Parrish felt that she used to have some dude come over to the house whose hair she was always doing.
Your Honor,
never got paid for it. Parrish didn't like that because he would call my grandmother and clearly stated.
He was saying she's broken, Grandma. I cannot fix her. He said she's crazy, Grandma. This guy keeps coming over there and doing her hair. She's not even getting paid for doing his hair.
Ms. Warner babysat but didn't know how to feed the baby, leading to a night of chaos. To top it off, Miss Brugger says they didn't even secure the baby's car seat properly. It's a total mess.
We trusted you with my son when he was like 2 to 3 months.
But he's growing.
She did not feed my son all night.
No, it didn't go like that. Don't
she
say
brought
that.
him home
They didn't
in a car seat without him being strapped in. Parrish was even mad, and he said
I have to tell you that.
He would never let her keep our son.
No,
until
what
he was
happened
old
was
enough
that wasn't.
to talk
I'll tell
and
you
pick
what
up
happened.
the phone on his own.
Ms. Warner's granddaughter questions if they'll be allowed to see the baby if he's proven family. Miss Brugger argues they rarely tried to visit and left all the effort to her. It's getting even more heated.
If it comes back and that is his, is my grandma even going to be able to see the baby?
You cannot.
You act so funny. I wasn't there because my 1-year-old was sick.
I
That's why.
invited you
and
to
I
his
talked
birthday,
to you. And what did I
you
tell
didn't
you?
show up.
And what
so
did I
how
tell you?
are you guys
So I'm
going to
gonna
say
bring another
that I
baby.
don't invite you guys? Did
I
you
did
guys
come.
ever come to my
I
house
come.
to see him?
I
You
did.
came a couple
Yes.
times.
No,
you
I
never
didn't.
did.
I have my own kid. Let's just
And
be real
Parrish,
about it.
but how
I
many
have my
times
own.
Ms. Warner accuses Brugger of being after the family trust fund, but Brugger insists it's all for her son's future. Then Mr. Harvey, Parrish Sr.'s dad, steps in with emotional regret and support for the baby.
He was mad because he felt they were not embracing the fact that he finally did have a kid. You know, I thought I couldn't have kids for all these years. Now I have the son, and they're not embracing it. However they feel about me, but them trying to keep the ashes from my son, if my son is entitled to
I don't even have the
money,
ashes.
anything that he should be entitled to.
Mr. Harvey says Parrish Sr. loved being a dad and would never claim a baby that wasn't his. He sees a family resemblance and defends Miss Brugger, but the family's still skeptical as the DNA results are revealed.
He was proud of his son. He told me that was his son. The boy got a little bit of me in him. He looks like me.
We just want to make sure that little Parrish is Parrish's.
No.
And then it's just, he just looks nothing like him.
And the
he's-
lack of
I used
family
to joke.
resemblance.
Yeah, and I always used to joke with Parrish, like, no, he's too cute to be your baby.
Jr. is also related to Parrish Brooks Jr.
It kicks off with a bang. How does a two-night fling turn into this chaos? Miss Steinhardt claims Mr. Washington is the father of her baby, but he's denying it. Meanwhile, his fiancée, Miss Comer, is fuming, and the drama is just getting started.
Mr. Washington, you say the defendant, Ms. Steinhardt, was a two-night stand that went too far. And as a result, she's claiming you fathered her 3-month-old daughter, Amaya. Your fiancé, Ms. Comer, says your relationship is in turmoil because of Ms. Steinhardt, and you're both desperate to prove you are not the father.
Why they're fighting. The pettiness is unreal. Mr. Washington thinks Miss Steinhardt wants to ruin his family, while she insists he needs to step up as a dad. Miss Comer's had enough, and the drama keeps escalating.
Well, the real reason is because she just wants my family.
Nobody wants your
Let me let you
family.
know
Nobody wants
something.
this man.
Called me every day when you was pregnant, knowing that I was pregnant with my child, to talking about your child like I was gonna even put my 2 cents in your conversation.
You're the only one asking for a DNA.
Not that. He said it in front of you when we had you on speaker on the phone. You
Because
had
he
nothing
was
to
with
say. You
you.
was stuck.
How they met. Things went downhill fast after Mr. Washington met Miss Steinhardt during a fight with his fiancée. She says he even introduced her to his family, but Miss Comer's not buying it.
Me and my fiancé got into a little disagreement. I was staying at a friend's house, and I met Teresa over there.
Then we took it from there. We was together like that whole week.
When you say together, that means having sex?
No, like we was just like hanging out.
Okay.
He took me to his family member's house, introduced me to his family.
Let's get it straight. The basement of his family's house.
Caught in the act. Picture this. A street confrontation with Miss Comer catching them together. Chaos ensues as Mr. Washington tries to play it cool, but it's not working.
Basically, we was walking to the store and she was yelling from the other side of the block, like, oh, I see you.
And then I said, oh, I see y'all over there. Then they started walking like this. They out, running, ghosts. But they was out, they was ghosts, nowhere to be found.
I don't know
know what you was on, but
they
nobody was in go.
And you all were together at that time.
Yeah.
The photos that broke the courtroom. Miss Steinhardt shows cozy selfies with Mr. Washington, leaving Miss Comer furious. He admits to taking them, but claims they mean nothing.
So if your boyfriend was cheating, why would he be taking a whole bunch of pictures?
That's why he takes a lot of pictures.
He posted it on his page.
No, you posted it on your page, sweetheart.
So, Mr. Washington, because I want to hear from Mr. Washington.
Hair from the dog himself.
Yeah.
Pregnancy plot twist. Miss Steinhardt says Mr. Washington told her to take a pregnancy test and then ghosted her. Miss Comer found out on social media and things got even messier.
He called me and he was like, I think you need to take a pregnancy test because I think you're pregnant. Yes, you did.
I never called you. Try to contact us all the time.
You didn't call me?
No, I blocked your number.
You called me from a text-free number. Let's be real, because your phone was off. He asked me to take a pregnancy test, and I went down to the hospital and I took a pregnancy test and it came back positive, and I let him know.
The mystery man. A photo with another man holding the baby raises questions. Miss Steinhardt says he's just a family friend, but nobody's convinced.
Another man carry another man's baby, point blank, period. Like
Another man carry
another man after she gave birth, she had the guy all up in her baby's face.
That was a family member.
No, you said that was your boyfriend. Let's get it right, shorty. That was my boyfriend since 2012 or 13. There you go right there. He all
That's a family member.
No,
He has
your boyfriend.
No dad in sight. Mr. Washington denies involvement with the baby, claiming she's not his. Miss Steinhardt accuses him of dodging responsibility, and the room's tension is palpable.
And so when you look at this beautiful baby, right?
And he was drunk when she took that picture.
No, he was not.
Yes, I was.
It was after his
fell
birthday.
asleep.
She even told me, because she
That was a
texted
sneak
these
picture.
pictures to me.
What's going on here? It looks like a dad.
Basically, I was at a family member's house. He wanted to see the baby, and I was like, sure.
The DNA shocker.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Washington, you are not the father.
Thank you. Now have a great day with your life.